What is up, people? What is up, heathens? What's up, Legion? Rev Avi here, checking in for the Magic Quarantine Talk. What's going on, people? I am here. Of course, we're going to talk about the occult. We're going to talk about magic. We're going to talk about demons and all of that black magic stuff that we all love so much, okay? So, of course, before we get started, if you're watching this on YouTube, please like, please subscribe, drop a comment, link up with us on Facebook and stuff, and become part of our organization. Okay. If you're watching this on Facebook, tag people, tag them so we can get them on this live, guys, and get started. Okay. And dive into these deep topics. Okay. Join us on the Discord. If you guys aren't on our Discord, we do voice chats there. Okay. Everybody has a voice on Discord, not just me. Okay. We're also live and registered. We got a website, demonism.org. Check us out, okay? Tonight, we're going to talk about vampirism, and this should be a juicy one, okay? We're going to talk about vampirism. So before I dive in, I'm going to give people a chance to get here like I always do, and then we will get started, okay? Let me shoot out a message on my Discord. So I'm gonna shoot out a alert on my Discord, and then we'll get started. Okay. Cool. That's a lot of alerts. Get my comments going. Cool. All right. Let me shoot out this message. Let everybody know I'm going live. Usually they know, but not always. Let them know I'm going live, and then we'll jump into it. We'll talk about vampirism. This should be a great topic. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Rev Avi. I've been studying the occult and practicing various magical arts for the better part of 20 years, okay? If there's something that has to do with the occult and magic, I've probably studied it. I'm not going to say I know everything, okay, because that's just silly, right? Nobody knows everything, but I do know a little bit about a whole lot, okay? But yeah, I've been studying this stuff for, a little over 20 years. So I have a lot of information, a lot of insight I can offer to people about these various topics. Okay. And for some reason, my Discord is not working. So I'm just not going to worry about it. We'll just dive in. And of course, people will watch it in their own leisure and come back to it and whatever. Okay. So, oh, there it is. It's updating. So, let's just jump in. Okay, we'll jump right in, and people will show up as we go. So, vampirism, cool. And there's one person, cool. So, vampirism. Let's get into this. What is vampirism? What is it all about? How does that tie into demonism, into left-hand path study, into all of the stuff that we're interested in, right? Let's start with understanding who Lilith is. And when you understand who Lilith is, you'll understand how vampirism ties into this entire left-hand path study. So it doesn't really matter what left-hand path or satanic organization you go to. Okay, it doesn't matter which one you find. You come across the name Lilith, right? Inside of the Baphomet, it says Samael and Lilith, along with the stories that you get of the various demons. It always involves the mother of all demons, which is Lilith. Now, another term that goes right along with mother of all demons is the mother of all vampires, mistress of the night, okay, queen of the night. Lilith is one of the original stories that has to do with vampires, okay? And this is how this all ties together. It said that she is a vampiric-like being, right? Some of the mythology that's attached to her is specifically involves like the drinking of blood and stuff like that. And also lust and sexuality and that sort of thing, okay? And so when you realize the totality of what she represents, being the harlot and the queen of nights and the vampire and the queen of demons, then you realize that very, very strong connection, okay? To vampirism and the left-hand path, okay? So let's get a little bit more in depth on this. Let's talk more about the vampirism. What is it? Technically speaking, Vampirism is any act, okay, that would involve things that a vampire would do. Okay, so things that a vampire would do. Let's talk about some of those things so we can see how this relates. So, some of the things that vampires are known to do is take energy or life force or blood or something like that from living beings in order to sustain themselves and keep themselves alive, make themselves more powerful, right? To keep themselves alive and make themselves more powerful. That's one of the things they do. Another one of the things that vampires do is they tend to be more nocturnal and attached to the moon and night, right? The funny thing is when you start to look at all these different characteristics of the vampire, the ability to work with magical powers, okay, the ability to create servitors or other magical beings and all of this stuff, you come to a really interesting revolution, which I share inside of Demonism, my new book, okay? And that revolution is this. There really is no difference between a vampire, a witch, a demon, and an ancient god. They're all exactly the same definition. Some supernatural being that has the ability to work with these magical powers, draw powers or energy or whatever from the sources around them to make themselves more powerful, etc., etc., etc. And so I've made this interesting connection within demonism between vampirism and the left-hand path, which is kind of, it's been talked about before. There's organizations that exist that have followed this path before, but never in the context of, again, the way that I'm teaching it, okay? Because like I talked about in the last live with the performance art and then going out and displaying the powers and stuff, if we're talking about the genuine powers of the vampire, again, we're in a position to actually display them, okay? Because one of the most famous vampires statements ever, which I've mentioned before, is "look into my eyes," right? And that's where the entire mesmeric hypnotic process begins. So when we're talking about vampiric magic, this is how all of this stuff is going to connect. Not only that, we're going to talk about the other various powers of the vampire and stuff inside of demonism as well. And this is going to include not just like vampirism from a physical context where it's like drinking blood, because I don't condone that at all. If you're doing that, that's just ridiculous. But the concept of working with the life force energy and, of course, trying to improve and increase your own energy and also connecting and dealing with the energy of others, okay? So we're going to talk about stuff like that. We're going to talk about astral projection, dream magic, okay? And then the other unique vampiric powers that don't even come up in some other organizations, which are shape-shifting, okay? I mentioned that and the realistic context of creating that, okay? So this is very interesting stuff. This is a very realistic sort of practice once you understand the basis of where vampirism comes from, right? Once you have that understanding, then you can realize how you really can practice vampiric magic or any other kind of magic, because the truth is it's all magic. Reality is magic, and you can manifest any number of things. Now, I think I'm getting a request for someone to jump on the live. So let's see who it is. It is Carlos. Let's see if he has a question. Bring him on. No answer. Okay. So cool. I'm doing a new thing. I've got it open for you guys to, if you want to ask questions, just pop in there and hit that join the live button, and I'll bring you right on here for the split screen, and you guys can ask your questions live, which is a lot better than just typing them in. Okay. So yeah, I know they're having super bad weather in the south right now with snow and stuff, and those guys like never get snow. So part of me is laughing, but it's not funny because I know you guys don't know how to deal with it down there. But so a lot of our mods and stuff are from the south, and they are buried in snow. I don't know what to do right now. So there'd probably be just a few people on this live, but I'm open for questions from anyone, right? So shoot them out there if you have them, guys, and I'll be glad to answer them. So let's go a little bit more in depth inside of this vampirism topic, right? what are some of the other things that vampirism involves? Usually people think, like I said, it involves some type of blood drinking or something like that. I don't condone anything like that. In fact, the Sanctorium does not condone any type of criminal activity at all. Okay, so you cannot be associated with criminal activity and expect to be a member here. We just simply do not allow that. So do understand that blood drinking and stuff like that, it's not necessary, because truthfully, we're working on an energetic level. We're working on a spiritual level. And so when you understand that, it's not necessary. It's just another added step of something to do. Okay, so if we look at nature, let's go a little deeper into this. So if we look at nature, right, everything in nature has to feed on something else, right? And this is a unique concept when you start to look at how everything in nature needs to literally feed off of something else in order to survive, which includes its body parts and blood and etc. For those that may be vegan, they could rebuttal this, but even plants contain life force, so you're still eating something that's alive. With that in mind, truthfully, everything is sort of vampiric in nature, right? The predator eats the prey, and this is the concept of vampirism at its core. Is one can choose to be the predator, or one can choose to be the prey. And in this world, I know a lot of people will say, you know, that's a fucked up way to look at the world, but it's not me that's saying, oh, just look at the world in this way. This is the way that nature is set up. Okay, the lion eats the gazelle. Okay, there's nothing. The cat always goes out and tries to get a bird. There's nature's programmed this way. Okay, so everything in nature has a predatory nature and then a prey nature also, because even those things that seem like they're the prey are also partially predators, right? And so this is a very, very deep context that goes not only from looking at nature and the vampiric point of view, but understanding spirituality in total. This goes back to that dark and light, good and evil argument that people love to make so much. And the truth is nature is both, okay? Nature's both. It's predator and prey. It's light and dark. It's good and evil, right? Because to the gazelle, that lion's evil for ripping up his poor buddy, right? But to that lion, you know, and to the other lions, he's like a hero. Hey, man, you got a great gazelle today. So it's like someone's god is always another person's demon, and all gods are demons, right? Welcome to demonism. That's the concept here, guys. It's understanding the total reality of what's happening in nature, and especially the things that are involved with understanding ourselves, who we are, what we are, and our nature and spirituality, and why we're here on this planet. Not enough people ask this question. And truly, I think this is one of the key things to tapping into genuine magic, is to start asking yourself, why are we here? Okay? The more time you spend asking yourself, why are we here on this planet? Why? Why are we here? That's going to lead you to understanding, the magical understanding, the deeper questions, okay? You start to realize that a lot of stuff that people think is so important is really not important at all, okay? The world could work without those things. We could do things differently and care for the people that are suffering and stuff like that, but people don't. And I think the main reason is because they're not asking themselves that question I just mentioned, which is, why are we here on this planet? Okay, why are we here living this experience? Why? Okay, and if you ask that question and you seek to get that answer, which nobody has the definite answer, right? They're gonna give you their perception of it, but the truth is everyone's gonna come to their own realization, their own life purpose, or whatever it is. Everyone's got a different journey, but if you ask yourself that question, at least you can get to the core. Okay, start to get to the core of what the human being actually is. Okay, and I hope that really hits home for a lot of people out there. Okay, so with that said, I've been talking for like 17 minutes. I'm gonna shut up, open up for some questions. There's only like 2 people on here. I think one of them is Michelle, if I'm not mistaken. I think I see your picture up there, and the other one is Carlos. So I'll open up for some questions. You guys can shoot them out there if you got some. I'll shut up for a minute, and then if not, I'll roll on for another 10 minutes, and then I'm gonna jump out of here. Okay. So yeah, I'm open for it. Ask whatever you like. With the vampirism, another unique thing is how the magic is used. It really, that is a huge part of what brought me to the understanding of how I use magic currently today and why this organization exists. Okay, that's what brought us here. Is part of that vampiric understanding mixed in with the demons and the left hand path and stuff like that. So for instance, one thing that you come across is, of course, that atheism versus the theism argument with everybody, not just left-hand path people, but with everybody, right? And one thing that happens when people are atheist is, honestly, the atheist just has not had a genuine spiritual experience yet, okay? And when you do have one, and it's not a dream. It's not something that happens at night. It's something that happens when you're wide awake. You can't explain it. It's like, what the fuck? Okay. Then it's like, there's something else going on here. Okay. You have to humble yourself. You go, you know what? I don't know what the fuck is going on here. And then you get that huge question mark of it's time to discover, right? That question mark pops up and it's time to research and discover what in the fuck just happened to you. Okay. And so I realized that some people just don't have spiritual experiences. And with that, I think that has a lot to do with tying themselves into the atheism, which is another form of blind faith. I talked about that before. So if you tie yourself into like just not believing in anything, you shut off the possibility for something happening. Okay. It's sort of like with the idea of wanting to explore space. Okay. If everyone just believed that we were in a big glass dome and you couldn't get out of that fucker, and we just believed it, right? We would have never tried to go into outer space. We'd have just went on with the concept of we can't get out of here. Whereas the other person that says, you know what, I think there's a possibility for something, is the one that's open to the new experience. And it's the same concept with atheism and spiritual practice, okay? I'm really trying to get people to understand this, because I've been talking to a lot of people. Some of them are atheists and some of them are theists, okay? And so for the atheist people that are like just hardcore, I'm going to be atheist till I die. It's like, fine, okay? You're never going to have a spiritual experience because you don't believe it's possible, okay? Whereas you can change someone's mind that is an atheist, that doesn't believe it's possible, okay, by then showing them something that's impossible, right? And so this is where we get in that catch-22 with demonism and phantasmagoria specifically, right? Because we have a unique advantage of being able to show them some shit that's very, very unexplainable. So we have a method by which at least we can start the question mark within the atheist to question, okay, and say, well, that was bizarre, okay, and just them having that question mark is enough for them to not be an atheist anymore. You just have to implant a question mark within those people. And whereas the theist people, it's the opposite. You have to do a very fine job of making them think logically, okay? And that's a tougher boat than planting the question mark. Okay, you have to understand this. With people that are tied up in, their superstitious like belief, and they are convinced that Jesus Christ is coming back at some point. Okay, with those types of people, there's just, you really have to show them the realm of logic and reason. You can't combat them with a different spiritual view, and I hope that makes sense. If you want to sort of have people that come to truth and understanding, and have people that can relate to the things that you're talking about specifically, for the people that are struggling with family members and stuff out there, you have to be able to sort of introduce them to the idea of logic outside of spirituality and religion, okay? And the reverse goes for the atheist. I hope that helps too also with all this. So there's a couple different ways that I do this, okay? And there's a lot of different ways that I teach this stuff. So, for instance, one of the things that I teach, of course, is mesmerism. But some of the other things that I use are tools, okay? Some of the other things that I use to help people expand their awareness are tools. One of those tools are the aura glasses. And I pulled mine out. just for this. So these look just like regular sunglasses, but they're not. These are actually aura glasses. They block out every other spectrum of light other than the ones that you need to be able to see the human aura if you really want to try to tap into that. Yeah, I'm looking at the aura on my hand right now. Of course, you guys can't see it, but is aura glasses. These are one technique I use. I wonder if I could. Nah, that doesn't work. I was going to try to get you to see through them, but that's one technique. Another thing that I use is the magic coins. And if you guys don't know what those are, I will show you. So I pulled some stuff out for this live because I knew this would be an interesting topic. These are the magic coins, okay? And these are just a bunch of different coins. I like the larger coins, and I've got a bunch of different ones. I think this one here is there it is. You can get a little bit better of a shot. This glare sucks. Let's try to block out some of that light. Wait, let me kill my bright ass light. There we go. So you can see this, kinda, okay? So this one is actually the Witch's Sabbath, and it's a demon with a bunch of witches flying around on brooms. Here is a Death Liberty. And I've got a bunch of different ones. I've got some yes, no coin, decision coins is what I call them. But these look like heaven on one side and hell on the other, or death on the other. Yes, no. But I have a lot of interesting things that I use to help, fixate people, fixate their mind so that I can help them get into the understanding of, and let me turn my light back on, get into the understanding of, or get to the place where they need so that they can gain understanding. Okay, so we're talking about for the atheist, okay, for the atheist, they need to see something magical, right? They have to see something spiritual. So you have to be able to show them something beyond, right? And this can be done with a lot of the techniques that I shared. Whereas with the person that, like I said, the other person, something like the aura glasses and stuff like that is not really going to work for them. You're going to have to come with science, okay, and stuff like that. So I'm seeing a comment here. Michelle says, I was raised by a Christian mom. Oh, I love that. I was raised by a Christian mom and atheist dad. LOL, but I'm glad I know both sides. You know, and that's not unheard of. Some people have some parents that are super spiritual, some parents that are atheists, and people can get along. Opposites attract. Here's the funny thing. My wife, and we've been married for almost 10 years now. I think this will be like 10 years this year. But the thing is when I met her, she was raised Catholic, like devout Catholic, okay? And I was pentagram boy. You know, I was already witched out by that point. And, we found a way to make this thing last for 10 years now. And so, like I said, it got to a point where, I was telling her about stuff and she was like, well, I was raised Catholic. And she questioned some of that stuff, And the more she researched, the more she found out, this is some bullshit. By the time I made it to Caesar Borgia, she was done with whoever that guy is up on that cross, okay? And, over the years, the atheism kicked in. She went from like religious to like, oh, well, it's also bullshit. And then most recently, we came on live and shared a genuine spiritual experience that happened, okay, for the both of us. Now, for her, she has never, ever experienced anything like that before. So now her mind is just exploded. She's like, fuck, like everything's, she's to the point where, she's like, everything is a possibility now. And it was not there before, and it's like, that's what happens when you wake people up, okay? For some people, it's like when you wake them up, they are ready. They become ready. Like, okay, well, I've been blind to everything and I'm ready to see, and that's what it feels like, okay? Another thing is the energy and stuff like that. When we talk about life force and energy and stuff like that, it's not something that is metaphorical. This isn't, oh, I feel the energy because I want to. This is not that, okay? This is not, just keep deep breathing. Just keep deep breathing, and, this is not that. The energy and the Uraeus, the life force, the Kundalini that we're talking about is tangible, okay? It is very tangible. This energy is very, very, very real. Very fucking unexplainable when you tap into it. and a lot of people are faking it. I do think that there are some gurus out there that have it, that do know about it, like Mantak Chia, and some of the great spiritual leaders that are out there do know about this stuff and have tapped into it, but not everyone. They're full of shit. Mainly, you can tell by being in the room with someone how active their life force is. If someone has a strong life force, they always come off like a celebrity. You're in the room with them and they're the center of attention. It's like the popularity group or something, okay, at high school, where the person with the most radiant life force attracts the most people. So there's no doubt about it when you meet someone that genuinely says, hell, I have a great life force, because you can see it radiating from them, okay? Especially when, like I said, you're out somewhere and you see the person, or there's a party or gathering or something like that going on, you know, that person with the most life force is getting the attention always, okay? So that's why I always explain it to people, like, it's always your celebrities and stuff like that, that are usually people that can tap into this stuff and can explain it. For instance, some of the greatest singers that have ever lived, and we're talking like Whitney Houston, great voices, right? They talk about hitting those high notes or hitting certain notes and seeing colors. And they don't know what the fuck it means. And then, you know, after years of this happening, I'm like, okay, why do I keep seeing this color when I hit this note? Some of them end up meeting a guru, a spiritual guru that explains the chakras and the colors and the vibrations that go with the notes, which is the same thing I teach here. And when you realize, like, oh, fuck, every time I hit the note C, that's why I'm seeing red, okay? It starts to make sense, okay? So this stuff is real. It's tangible, and it happens to people. They don't know why it happens, okay? And that's the first thing, is you don't know why. And just everyone pretends to know stuff. I'm not in that category. There's a lot of stuff that I do not understand. I can't pretend to understand. But I do realize that we're in a mental universe, more so than any type of spiritual universe. It's a combination of both, where our minds are creating the spiritual universe that we can experience. And so I'm very strong-held on that. I also think that there is a physical, now we're talking not the brain. When I say mind, I'm talking about consciousness, not the brain. Okay, so this is a reality that's created by consciousness, the mind. And when you get the grasp of that, it becomes very much a psychic reality versus a spirit reality, which is the opposite of, you can't convince me that spirits exist. I've tried it. I've conjured the angels. I've conjured the demons. I've tried the Loa. I've been around the block with the fairies, and I've tried it, okay, to conjure this stuff, to work with it, to see. And you can't. You can conjure all manner of things, okay? And they don't even care if you've been baptized in their religion. That's how crazy people are. They make it religious, but the spirit world is not, okay? They don't care. And so with that in mind, it's like, this is all stuff that you're manifesting without you trying to make these things occur, or believing in it, or worshiping it, or whatever that is. None of it's ever going to pop up and say, hey, how dare you not worship the fairy goddess today, or whatever. That never fucking happens. And it doesn't matter what your religion. It doesn't matter if it's Lucifer and Lilith. It doesn't matter if it's fairies or Jesus or whatever. None of it ever pops up and goes, hey, you know what? You know, this is the only way. You know, that never happens. And people are full of shit if they tell you that it's otherwise. The true experience always comes from the mind. Always. And that's why demonism is based on mentalism. That's what makes our Left Hand Path study different from the other organizations. We're not atheists. We're mentalists. Okay? And so, you know, with that in mind, it's like we're different from the theist also, because we're not 100% theist. Okay? We're mentalists. Okay? We realize that we can make spirits occur. We can make atheism occur if we desire, okay? Because we're manifesting it all. So with that said, guys, I'm going to wrap it up. Much love, okay? And I will see you guys in the next one.